Lesson 12, our objective is to subtract fractions greater than or equal to 1. And I'm going to tell you right now that probably means that we're going to have to turn some mixed fractions into improper fractions in order to subtract them. Okay, let me see if I can start with a Learn Book, problem set, lesson 12, and subtraction. Okay, so just like in lesson 11, we're subtracting, we need to find our common denominator, 2 and 1/4. And what will our common denominator be here with the 4s and the 5s? Well, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20. Our common denominator is 20. Okay? Pretty standard. We've been doing that one a few times now. 1/5 and 4ths are together, their common denominator is going to be 20ths. And you'll start to remember that as well. So, how do I find our common denominator here? 1/5, I'm going to multiply it by 4 4s. And 2 and 1/4, I'm going to multiply by 5 5s. My new problem is 3 and 4 20ths minus 2 and 5 20ths. Okay, there it is. There we ran into it. 4 20ths minus 5 20ths doesn't work. So what are we going to do? Well, we have a couple options. This is the one that we're going to do first. We know that 3, we can really think of 3 as 3 plus 4 20ths, right? And if we can do that, then we can think of it as borrowing. Well, some people call it borrowing. We can think of it as 20 20ths plus 2. So this would be 2, 3, and 4 20ths. So I just borrowed here. Now I'm going to rewrite that as 2, now I have to combine those, and 24 20ths. Okay, do you see what I did? I borrowed from the whole number to create an improper fraction so that I could subtract. 2 24 20ths minus 2 and 5 20ths equals 2 minus 2 equals 0. 24 20ths minus 5 20ths equals 19 20ths. Do you see how we did that? Okay, let's try the next one. 4 and 2/5 minus 3 and 3/4. Okay, 4s and 5s, you see that again. We can go ahead and we know what our common denominator is going to be. So I'm going to rewrite it down here with our common denominator. This one gets multiplied by 4. This one gets multiplied by 5 5/5. Okay. So our new problem is 4 and 8 20ths minus 3 and 15 20ths. Okay, well, same thing happened again. So I need to take one of these whole numbers in order to subtract. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to change this to 3 plus 20 over 20 plus 8 20ths. Okay, do you see? Minus 3 and 15 20ths. Do you see what I did there? Okay. Pause it if you need to figure out what I did. Now, 3 and 28 20ths minus 3 and 15 20ths. That is easy. 3 minus 3 is 0. 28 minus 15 is, what is it? 5 plus 8 is 13 20ths. All right, let's try the next one. I want to try this in a different way. Okay, we can think of this as 7 plus 1/5 minus 4 plus 1/3, right? And if we can do that, then we can move some stuff around here, okay? So I can go ahead and subtract 7 minus 4 and get 3. Okay. And then I'm just, you know what? And then I still have 1/5 minus 1/3. So I'm going to combine these numbers here, 3 and 1/5 minus 1/3. Now I have to turn this into my common denominator. Did that make sense? I'm going to go through that just one more time because I feel like I probably went through that a little quickly. So let me just show you what I did one more time. Okay. Stick with me. Stick with me. Okay. What I did is I rewrote the expression. Instead of 7/5 minus 4 and 1/3, I'm going to subtract 7 and 4, and I'm going to get 3. Okay? 4 minus 7 is 3. Then I'm going to bring down the 1/5 and subtract 1/3 from it. Is that a little bit easier? Now, I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I have 2 plus 5/5. Oh, I forgot to get my common denominator. I apologize. Let's do that right now. Okay, so this is going to be multiplied by 3. That's going to be multiplied by 5. This is going to be multiplied by 5. This is going to be multiplied by 3. So I have 3 and 3/15 minus 5/15. Now I can borrow 2 plus 15/15. That equals that. Then I have to bring this down, 3/15. Okay, now all of that equals 2 and 18/15. Now I bring this over here, minus 5/15 equals 2 and 13/15. Okay? Do you see how I just did this subtracting of the whole numbers first? That's the thing about fractions and subtraction. You can do it in a lot of different ways. So whatever makes the most sense to you. Okay? Let's try that again. This time, I want to subtract 7 minus 5 and 2/3, and then I'm going to add the 2/5 back on. It's going to be the same problem. Okay? So I'm just going to take this 2/5 and I'm going to cut it out of the problem and I'm going to add it back on later. That's what I did right there. Okay? So 7 minus 5 and 2/3. I think you can almost do that in your head. 1 more third would be 6, and then a 1 would be 7, so that answer would be 1 and 1/3. If you don't know how I got that, try adding it together in your head. 5 and 2/3 plus 1/3 would be 6, plus 1 would be 7. Now, I've turned it from a subtraction problem into an addition problem. And 2/5. I'll find my common denominators here. Multiply this times 5, that times 3. Now I have 1 and 5/15 plus 6/15 equals 1 and 11/15. There are lots of ways to do these problems, okay? Did you like that way? We turned our subtraction problem into an addition problem. Let me show you what that would look like on a number line so that you can see exactly what I did. Okay. What I did on the number line here, let's say I have 7 right there, and I just went ahead and subtracted 5 and 2/3. Okay. Then I landed here. What I'm going to do is re-add on my 2/5, which is going to be here, and I ended up right there. That's where I ended up, which was 1 and 11/15. Now, had I started at 7 2/3 to begin with and subtracted, this space and this space would have been here and here. But do you see how it's the same distance? Okay. Hope that made sense. E. All right, now let's tackle this. 4 2/7 minus 3 1/3. My common denominator is 21, so 4 something over 21 and 3 something over 21. Okay. And to get 21, I have to multiply by 7, so that's going to be 7. And here I have to multiply by 3, so that's going to be 6. 4 and 6 21s over 3 and 7 21s. Wow. I'm definitely going to have to borrow, aren't I? So 3, so important to have erasers in math class. 3 plus 21 over 21 plus 6 21. I just took that and put it there, and this here. And then I have to subtract 3 and 7 21s. So this all becomes 3 and 27 21s minus 3 and 7 21s, 21sts, equals, well, 3 minus 3 equals 0, 27 minus 7 equals 20, 20 21s. That's my answer. Next one. Let's see, what strategy should we use here? Let's subtract from here. Let's do 9 minus 2 and 6/7. Okay? And then I'm going to add that 2/3 back on. Once you get really good at moving these numbers around, math can get really fun. Okay? So we would need 1/7 to make that 3. And then 9 minus 3 is 6. Then we want to add 2/3 here. And 6, and our common denominator is going to be 21. And here this will be 21. And in order to find that, I need to multiply this by 7/7 and this by 3/3. And my new answer, or I'm sorry, my new problem will be 3 21sts and 14 21sts. Okay. Now, can I subtract those? Nope, I still need one more step. So I'm going to have to turn this into 5. I'm decomposing that 6. And 21 21s plus 3 21s plus, wait a minute. Oh, I made a mistake. I don't have to decompose it. I'm adding. I flipped it into an adding problem. So I don't need to carry that over. What was I thinking? You have to read your signs. That's easy. Okay? 6, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21s. Awesome. That's kind of why I like that one, because I changed it from a subtraction problem into an addition problem. And addition is always just a little bit more easy, isn't it? A little bit easier. G. Do you want to do that again? Let's do that again. So I'm going to change this into 17 minus 5 and 5/6. And then I'm going to tag that 2/3 back on, plus 2/3. Now, if this is too complicated for you, you do it your own way. That's okay. And in order to get to 6, the next whole number, I would have to have 1/6, right? 1/6 plus 5/6 equals 1. That would make that 6. And then the answer would be 11 and 1/6 plus 2/3. Now, I know I can just tell that my common denominator is going to just be 1/6. Plus, here I'm going to multiply that by 2 and that by 2, 4/6. My answer is 11 and 5/6. Just to prove to you that this works in more than one way, let's do it another way. 17 and 2/3, let's try that. 17 and 2/3 minus 5 and 5/6, that's the same problem. Now I'm going to subtract here. First I'm going to make common denominator 17, and this is going to be multiply by 2, multiply by 2. 17 and 4 6 minus 5 and 5 6. Okay, so I have to take one from here. So 16 and 6 6s plus 4 6s, that's this and this and that, minus 5 and 5 6. Okay, so now I have 16 and 10 6s minus 5 and 5 6s. My answer will be 16 minus 5 is 11, and 10 6 minus 5 6 is 5 6. Did you see? We got exactly the same answer. So with maybe one more step. So if this makes you more comfortable, do it this way, and if this is fine with you, try it that way. Okay, let's go back to the longer way, but maybe a little bit less confusing way here with this one. And 18 and 1/3 minus 3 and 3/8. What is our common denominator going to be? I think it's going to be 24, 18 something over 24, minus 3 and something over 24. In order to get 24, I have to multiply that by 8, and then this by 3. This would make that 18 and 8 24s, and this would be 3 and 9 24s. So I'm going to decompose that 18 into 17. And 24 24s plus 8 24s minus 3 and 9 24s. And that is going to give us 17 and 32 24s minus 3 and 9 24s equals 14, and 32 minus 9 is 23. 24. Excellent. All right, number 2. Let's see. Toby wrote the following. 7 and 1/4 minus 3 and 3/4 equals 4 and 2/4 equals 4 1/2. Is Toby's calculation correct? Well, 7 minus 3 is 4, but 1/4 minus 3/4, you can't do that. What did he do wrong here? Do you see what he did wrong? He forgot to borrow from the 7 in order to create a big enough fraction to subtract. So, is his calculation correct? No. Draw a number line to support your answer. So let's solve the problem first, and then we'll draw a number line to show what we did. Okay, so we took 7 and 1/4 minus 3 and 3/4, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this minus this. Okay, so 7 minus 3/4, oops, 3/4, not 4/4, minus 3/4, and then we're going to add that 1/4 back on, plus 1/4, okay, and that would give us, well, 3/4 plus 1/4 would make it 4, so that's 1/4, and then 3 minus 4 would be 3, and then over here we're going to add that 1/4 back on, and that gives us 3 and 2/4, which also equals 3 1/2. So let's try that on a number line. Okay, so 3 and 3/4 is what we're subtracting from 7 and 1/4, and we need to prove that in between here, does this equal 3 and 1/2? Let's find out. Switching colors. 3 and 3/4, that would be 4 and 3/4. This would be 5 3/4. It's 1, 2. This would be 6 3/4. And then that would be 7. And this would be 1/2 and 1/2. So we went 1, 2, 3 and a half and a half. Wait a minute. Sorry, 1/4. And a fourth and a fourth. And I think we did it. I think we showed on our number line. 7 1/4 minus 3 1/2 would equal 3 3/4. Or, if we could say it the other way, 7 1/4 minus 3 3/4 would equal 3 1/2. Cool. That's fun. All right, number 3. Mr. Neville Ice Guy. Mr. Neville Ice Guy. That's a funny name, Ice Guy. Like he's the guy who makes the ice. Mixed up 12 3/5 gallons, that's our unit, of chili for a party. If 7 3/4 gallons of chili was mild, and the rest was extra spicy, the rest, restar, that should be your indicator, how much extra spicy chili did Mr. Ice Guy make? Probably needs all that ice for the hot chili. Okay, let's draw a picture first. He mixed up 12 3/5 of a gallon. And if 7 3/4 of that gallon were mild, how much was extra spicy? Yum. I like spicy food. How much extra spicy chili did Mr. Ice Guy make? So this is a subtraction problem. 12 3/5 minus 7 3/4 equals how many gallons? We already know our label. Okay, so 12, well, that 5 and that 4 there, so we already know that that's going to be 20. 7 over 20. This is going to have to be multiplied by 4, and that by 4, and then this is going to be multiplied by 5, and that by 5. So 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, all right. Can I subtract 12 by 7? Yes, and I could get 5. But then that 12 minus the 15 doesn't work, so I'm going to have to split this one into 11 and 20 20ths, and then add back the 12 20ths. Okay, I'm going to put that all in a big parentheses, minus 7 and 5 20ths. Okay, so this means that this is going to be 11 and 32 20ths minus 7 and 5 20ths. Now I can definitely subtract those. So 11 minus 7 is 4. 32 20ths minus 5 20ths is 27 20ths. Well, what do you have there? That, my friends, is an improper fraction. Did you see that? Let's make that back into a proper fraction, which is by 4 plus 20 20ths plus 7 20ths equals 5 and 7 20ths. And what are we forgetting? I almost forgot. What did we have to forget? Can't forget the label. So our label is gallons. Number 4. Jasmine decided to spend 6.5 hours studying over the weekend. Good, you should do that too. She spent 1 1/4 hours studying on Friday evening, and 2 and 3 hours studying on Saturday. How much longer does she need to spend studying on Sunday in order to reach her goal? Okay, so this looks like a two-part problem to me. Her goal is to study for 6.5 hours. You should study for 6.5 hours before every test. That would be great. She decided to spend 6.5 hours studying over the weekend. So that's the total. Hours is our label. She spent 1 1/4 of an hour on Friday. Then she spent 2 2/3 of an hour on Saturday. And then how much is she going to have to spend on Sunday? So this is an addition problem. Okay. And this is going to be a subtraction problem. So 6.5 is our goal, minus 1 1/4 plus 2 2/3 equals our answer. Okay? So we have to add these and then subtract them from the whole thing. So this is a two-step problem. First we're going to do the addition because anything in parentheses goes first. So our common denominator is going to be 12. And this times 3, and this times 3, and this times 4, and this times 4 would make that 3 and 8. Okay. Now, take this down. 3 and 3/12 plus 2 and 8/12 would make it 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 8 is 8, 9, 10, 11 12s. And here I have 6.5. Okay, so now I've finished my addition part. Now I've got my answer to the addition. Now I have to solve the subtraction. Okay. So I know that I want my common denominator to be 12. Can you see that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That would be my 2's. And then my 12's would be 12, 24, 36. But I can see that 12 right away. So I'm going to multiply this times 6 and this times 6. And that will give me 6 and 6/12 minus 3 and 11/12. Okay, so this is smaller than that. So I'm going to have to borrow. That is going to turn into 5 and 12/12 plus 6/12 minus 3 and 11/12. And we're still looking for our answer in what? In hours. Okay. So this would be 5 and 18/12 minus 3 and 11/12. 5 minus 3 equals 2. 18/12 minus 11/12 is 7/12 hours. 1/12 of an hour. Good. Excellent. So how much longer does she need to spend studying on Sunday in order to reach her goal? 2 and 7/12 of an hour. And you can write that in sentence form. She needs to study. What did I say that was? 2 and 7/12 of an hour. 2 and 7/12 of an hour. Period. Great. That's the last one. After you finish your Learn pages, please copy them all in. All those answers, all those things, so you can go back and look at them. Then go to your exit ticket. There are 2 problems. They're both subtraction. After you finish your exit ticket, start on your Lesson 12 homework. If you have any questions, please let me know.